Hey guys, it's Isaiah from Dialed Archery. I do customer service and sales. If you sent a customer service or a support email, I'm probably the one you guys are talking to. What we're gonna go over today is how to switch out the dial on your PRÜF sight, as well as swapping out switch tape rings. And we'll just do a kind of a quick run through so that if you guys get a new dial or new switch tape rings, you know what to do. So for starters, what you'll need for tools is a 3/32 Allen screw. We found, if you have a longer one, it generally can work a little bit better, but you can use like a Pine Ridge set or any normal full set too. The other thing, if you've got a replacement dial, you'll get a dial wrench with it as well too. This will be really helpful in taking the dial off. For starters, what we're gonna do is there's a set screw on this switch tape ring. What we're going to want to do is loosen that set screw so that we can remove that switch tape ring. Depending on how yours is set up, it may be positioned in a different way, but you can basically take this Allen screw, go in here, loosen that, and that ring will pop right off. We always recommend, if you're sighting in, to always try to bottom out your rail. This will make it easier too when you're switching out this dial and switching out these rings, because you're always gonna have a dead stop that you're going back to. In the case where you don't, you may have to kind of leave it locked in or whatever, so it's not gonna move, but just simple, straightforward there. From here, what we're gonna do is then loosen our dial nut set screw. There's a set screw right here. Same thing, it's 3/32, so one tool you can do it all. From here, what we're gonna do is loosen that up. Don't forget to loosen that set screw, because if you try to use that dialed wrench beforehand, you're going to do all kinds of damage, because that set screw is locking that dial nut in place. From there, you can do it kind of a couple different ways. Some of the guys down there will lay them flat on the table like this. Others will kind of hold them up. But what we're going to do next is take that dial wrench, and we're going to use that on here to loosen that dial nut. And what we're going to do is we're just going to keep loosening it until it comes off. Pretty straightforward. One thing that we've kind of found with how that dial is flat on the side, it does make it really easy if you're going to consistently work on, say you're moving indicators or something like that. It's really nice because you can just lay it down flat like that and work on it pretty simple. So from there, I have that dial nut off, and what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to grab that dial and pull that out. So in here, what you'll notice, we're going to have 4 actual indents in that dial, so you're going to want to take note of those, because when we put that dial back on, or if you're going to put a different dial back on, those are going to be very important. The reason for that is in here, our main gear is going to have 4 little indents. So basically, as you could probably guess, this and that go together, help lock it in place so that your gear's not slipping. So from there, in the case where you were switching out switch tape rings, what we would do is then take this one as well, loosen that up, remove that switch tape ring. You could put a different one on, different color or whatever, and then reinstall it. Don't worry too much about where exactly that's positioned, because we can adjust all that once we have that back on the actual sight. So from there, we have that removed. If you were to do indicators or switch an indicator from the inside to the outside, this is where you would then take up from there. We'll have another video for that. But for the time being, we're just basically going to put this back in here. So Johnny does it just by sticking this back in here. He kind of lines up those indents with these indents. Dylan likes to actually set it down as well here too, and you can kind of align that like this. And basically what you're going to do is keep your fingers on top so that actual, we call it the glide ring, so that glide ring doesn't pop out. But you're going to work that right on in, and now it's in like that. As long as you have those indents lined up, it should pop in, no problem. From there, we're just going everything in reverse. So we'll take that dial nut. Again, make sure that set screw is loose. We're going to set this on here. It is kind of a compression fit, so normally I'll kind of try to line that up, and then the best way that we've found is just to take your dial wrench at this point before it's even tight and kind of just line it up, and make sure you can kind of look at the side of the actual body to make sure it's level and you're not going to cross thread it or anything like that, like I'm about starting to try to do right now. We'll just tighten that from here. A little bit more here till it starts locking up. So there, we're tight. From there, what we actually want to do is we're going to back it off about 1/4 of a turn. You can play with this a little bit. It all depends on your sight. They might be a little bit different from one to the other, but if you just tighten that and leave it tight, what you'll notice is your sight's gonna be super tight as well too, because that's compressing those glider rings and pushing that gear out. So from here, we're just gonna loosen about 1/4 of a turn. We'll then take that set screw here, or down that set screw, put that in here, tighten that up. With this, we always recommend don't give it the gusto here. Just get it good and snug. That's all of our dials are aluminum, and with a steel screw, you can kind of do some damage to the threads as well too if you're over tightening it. So just get it good and snug where it's not going to move. And then normally here, it's like we'll just kind of get a feel of it, see how smooth that is. If you were like super tight, you're going to notice it then. We'll then move and take our switch tape ring. Make sure you got it the right way. And then reinstall that, get it all the way up and tight, and then you can pivot this around. Sometimes it works well if you kind of can take this, or you have a pick or something, you can rotate that. But then we'll just rotate it till we're lined up with our test tape. There you go, guys. We just switched out the dial or switch tape rings. You should be all set. And if you have any questions, by all means, hit up the support email. Thanks, guys.